வணங்கி கேட்டுக்கொள்கிறேன். நன்றி. தமிழ் வெல்லும்.
Shri Akoijam. Shri Akoijam.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. First of all, this budget should have been discussed on the floor of the State Assembly. The fact that it has been brought to the Parliament House tells you about the anomaly. This is not a regular thing that the state budget is discussed on the floor of the House here. But there is a story about why this budget is here and what does this budget speaks of. First of all, it speaks of the exclusions and the contemptuous nature in which the present government has dealt with the state of Manipur. The number will speak, the measures that is reflected on the budget speaks. We have talked a lot about Prime Ministers not visiting the state. Initially, at the beginning of the crisis in 2023, I was heard that the Prime Ministers did not visit. Today, I'm almost indifferent. Whether he visits the states or not does not matter anymore. But the rest of the country should know that there is no visa issue for the Prime Minister to visit the country. He may go to Ukraine and talk about peace, and his own citizens have been slaughtered and more than 60,000 people have been rendered homeless. This kind of a behavior can never be justified by anybody who swears by nationalism. It can only be done by those who swear by pseudo-nationalisms and who has a peculiar idea of nation that thrives on excluding people. Now let me talk about this budget in two ways. What does these numbers speak of? The first one is this, a clear sense of the state of economy of this state called Manipur. Look at the fiscal liabilities. It's 37.07% of the GSDP. What does it speak of? It speaks of a terrible state of an economy, the debt burden that the state witnesses. Look at the revenue expenditure, 61%, of which roughly around 45% goes to salaries and pension. Look at the capital expenditure, 39%. What kind of a development project or development of the state that you can sense from these numbers? Or for that matter, you look at this non-tax revenue component, 1%. I thought that this budget would have schemes to deal with this basic economic anomalies of the state. For instance, trying to look for additional or diversification of the additional sources for the non-tax revenue of the state. No, we don't have that image here. I thought that there would be measures to deal with this debt burden. There's nothing of that kind. This is a normal aspect of any budget that you expect this budget to reflect, but we don't have. But over and above this, you have this crisis for 21 months. Does that budget reflect anything on that? No, nothing of that kind. 60,000 people, how do you expect that kind of economy of a state to deal with this crisis without the help of the center? We are not asking for UN interventions. We are not asking for international financial institutions to help Manipur. We are asking for additional source of money from the federal government as a constituent state of India. You don't get anything. How do we deal with this 60,000 people who are rendered homeless, villages wiped out, women and children suffering, children not able to go to school? Had this crisis been there in Bihar or UP, you would have felt the nation in you for you to reflect on your budget. the kind of exclusions that I have been trying to brought up in this house. Remember that Gandhi was thrown out of the train. How does he felt? He thought that he was a barrister. He thought he is entitled to that compartment in the train. He was thrown out of that. Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay, when he was told that India does not have history. That sense of invisibility is what this government has been doing. Nothing of this kind has been mentioned in your presidential speech. You've been trying to make us invisible, our tragedy as insignificant. And you expect the people of this state to feel like any other Indians and be proud of being an Indian. People have begun to start asking questions about the relationship between our state and the Union of India. People are remembering the instrument of accession. People are remembering that controversial Madras agreement. Why? Because you have allowed the feelings to be groomed like that. And this budget is an addition to that series of action that you have conducted. I'll give one more example, which I felt as I sat in this house and listened. I've seen floods in my home state. Even the Raj Bhavan was inundated. Every year it has become a ritual. Did the budget reflect anything on that in the national budget? Does it reflect in this budget as well? Nothing of that kind. 11,500 crore, 11,500 वाला जो दिया गया था आपने बिहार को, क्यों? Because Bihar is more Indian than Manipur. You think that you said that you will try to help the state of Assam and Himachal for the flood. Nothing has been said about Manipur. Ask your governor how the residents of that Raj Bhavan was inundated. Was it a foreign country? Or even if it were an ambassador's house, you would have invested. This is a state's governor. Under the Union of India, you don't bother and you expect us to feel normal, being included. Madam Chairperson, I am representing a voice. I have taught generations in this country, from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, from Gujarat to Nagaland. For 30 plus years, I've seen this. And you think it's normal that we, as people's representative in this House, will continuously throw this kind of insults? This budget is the same story that I have been witnessing. What do we do now? What can I expect from this government? What they will end up doing is, though this is being a budget estimate they are projecting for 25-26, at the end of the day you said, because I know I'm aware this is vote on account, and you say 50% has been approved, it's like a ritual, you will finish it off. Manipur even doesn't address. A ritual will be completed in a couple of days. Is this the largest democracy's temple would be indulging itself? I'm ashamed of myself to bring up these issues. It's not a joke. When thousands of people suffer, I expect this government to have some sensitivity and pump in a little more money and talk openly. If we have made mistake, let's accept. This is not about BJP or Congress. Let's move forward. Let's try to have this feeling that we are one, that we care for you. And this budget must reflect that, not a simple ritual to continue this insult and then blame the people for anti-India feeling being emerging in that space. Remember that anti-India feeling emerged in Manipur unlike anywhere in this country because of the follies of this state government. The government of this country has continuously done. None other than the Home Secretary, a retired Home Secretary of the Union government, has said Manipuris have been insulted, and the only way to move forward is for that insult continues even today. And this budget not taking care of the IDPs, not taking care of the basic needs of that economy, not taking care of the flood that has become a ritual, and you think it's going to be another ritual to pass in this floor of the House. It's very saddening, Madam Chairperson. I hope sooner we learn this and make corrective measures I'm only wishing that one day we will be able to say that we are all Indians. We feel the same feeling as everybody else. Thank you, Madam Chairperson.
Shri Bhola Singh.